So going into this game, everybody remembers the last time that the Ravens visited Ford Field in Detroit, right? Justin Tucker, of course, ended the game. Not only did he end the game with a 61-yard game-winning field goal in 2013, but he was also the only player scoring points for the Ravens that day. It ended up being 18-16. All 18 points were from the leg of Justin Tucker. So he already has that history in Detroit. So for him to come in here and accomplish what he accomplished is just absolutely crazy. But anyways, let's go ahead and get right into the story of the game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Detroit Lions. So I did write some notes down here, and there was a lot. Honestly, there was so many drives that just ended up going nowhere for both teams, both the Lions and the Ravens. So there's not really a lot to talk about aside from, let's see. So in the opening drive for the Lions, they get to midfield, and then they get stopped on 3rd and 9 on a blitz from the Ravens defense. And that was something that I talked about last week. I was curious to see, is Wink Martindale going to go back to his original game plans of always blitzing, or is he going to be a little bit more conservative like he was against the Chiefs? It looks like the blitz is back on the menu, so that's cool. Ravens then get the ball backed up at their own 4. They get stuffed. It's a 3-and-out. After that, it was a fumble caused after an attempted trick play, which should have been an interception by Tyus Bowser. At least that's what we thought. We thought for sure that's either a fumble, that's an interception, it's going the other way, it's the Ravens' ball. But no, it got turned over. To me, that was absolutely a fumble. That should have been, first of all, Tyus Bowser should have caught the damn ball. It was right in his hands. And believe me, we're going to talk about catches and drops a little bit later because that seemed to be a theme for this game here. And it started with Tyus Bowser dropping a walk-in pick 6. And then it got turned over. It didn't happen to be a fumble or an interception. Next up, Chuck Clark did make up for it. He got the sack on 3rd down. Then Lamar comes back on the field. The Ravens offense comes back on the field, starts throwing dimes to Mark Andrews and Marquise Brown. On my notes, I have him written down as Hollywood Brown, but he has been demoted. He is no longer Hollywood Brown right now until he makes up for this past game against the Lions, what he was doing there, dropping every single freaking pass. So now he has been demoted back to Marquise Brown, all right? He is no longer Hollywood Brown here. That is not what I am going to refer to him as. Anyway, so we get a good drive going, and then we send out Justin Tucker. And Justin Tucker, you expect the man to make his first kick, but actually, he misses his first kick, and I think it was not even that long of a field goal. It was like a 49-yard field goal, and he missed. He missed his first kick, so that just set the tone. It's like, oh my God, things are going wrong. This is not going to be a good day for the Ravens, right? Because when you see Tucker missing kicks, you know that something is going on. But obviously he makes up for it later, but we'll talk about that later. So then the Lions get back on the field. They didn't do anything on offense, honestly, in the first half. Lamar did have that big 31-yard run. Didn't amount to much. They ended up having to punt. The Lions ended up going 3-and-out again, and then that's when Dalen Hayes went out. We're going to probably talk about him a little later when Mills comes in. And then Lamar again, he just gets going through the air. But then that's when we started seeing the drops. There was a beautiful dime to Sammy Watkins. Now, the ball did kind of get swatted a little bit by the Lions defender, so Sammy Watkins didn't have necessarily a clean pathway to catching the ball, but in my opinion, he still could have made that catch. Regardless, it's a tough catch to make, so I understand. But Marquise Brown. Now, there was 3 huge drops in this game, right? There was the one right in the end zone. He was in the end zone. It was kind of like he had to kind of reach out for it a little bit. Now, that one you can kind of forgive because if you watch the replay from a different angle, you can actually see a Lions defender getting his hand on the ball, right? So if you want to make that excuse for that one, that's fine. But the other 2, there is just no excuse for the Marquise Brown drops, bro. None at all, because those were 2 touchdowns that Marquise Brown dropped right in his hand. Perfect throws from Lamar Jackson. And can we talk about Lamar? Lamar should have thrown for honestly almost 400 yards through the air. Because if it wasn't for all these drops that kept happening, Mark Andrews had some drops as well. Let's not just totally forget about that. So it's like all his receivers were dropping everything, but the guy would have had at least 350 yards passing, honestly, if these guys could actually catch. So, but regardless, it happened. And then they ended up making up for it with a touchdown with a dime pass to Devin Duvernay. The Ravens end up going 10-0 early on in the game. That throw to Devin Duvernay was pretty nice. It was maybe a little bit overthrown, but it was still a good pass, and obviously he caught it, so that's all you can ask for. After the half, they come back, and I don't know what's been going on, because usually the Ravens, they make good second half adjustments, right? But I don't know what it's been this season. They just haven't seemed to really be making those halftime adjustments. You're really starting to see a little bit of concern, at least for me, when it comes to the team coming out after halftime. You're not seeing them adjust. You're actually seeing the other teams adjust, which is not a good thing, because that's not something that you want to see. But hey, we're finding ways to win, and that's really all you can ask for at this point. So anyway, Lamar continued to have a good game through the air after the halftime. And this was the part that I wanted to bring up. At this point, Greg Gumbel, the announcer that was announcing for this past game, he called Justin Tucker Justin Turner. I don't know if you guys caught that on the telecast, but yeah, Greg Gumbel called Justin Tucker Justin Turner. And on top of that, he also called Marlon Humphrey Marvin. He called him Marvin. And I don't know if you guys have been following the whole Marlon Humphrey fiasco on Twitter, but Marlon Humphrey does not like being called Marvin, okay? He blocks people on Twitter when they call him Marvin. So I tweeted out, I wonder if Marlon Humphrey is going to be blocking Greg Gumbel for calling him Marvin, right? And I think actually, shout out to the Guru Punch podcast. You guys know Ronnie Stanley and Marlon Humphrey, their new podcast. They saw my tweet about calling him Marvin, and I thought that was pretty funny. Anyway, so after that, the Ravens were up 13-0. And then the Lions offense just started getting going. And when I say Lions offense, I really mean DeAndre Swift. We just, for some reason, could not stop DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift goes in for a touchdown, making it 13-7. And then after that, we do get a decent drive going, but we have to settle for 3, making it 16-7. There was that huge pass interference from Jimmy Smith, which, in my opinion, was a little bit BS. But regardless, it happened. It allows the Lions to continue their drive. And then Jamal Williams punches it in after, DeAndre Swift just could not be stopped. We could not stop DeAndre Swift. And we're going to talk about Patrick Queen a little bit later, because the man has had 2 bad games in a row. First week, I didn't really notice him too much, so, maybe it wasn't as bad. But Patrick Queen has definitely been underwhelming, and that's not something that you want to see. But we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Anyway, 16-14 would be the score. And then Lamar just tries to make something happen. He throws it up to Marquise Brown, just trying to give him an option. And it's picked off by, I believe, Amani Oruwariye on the Lions there. The Lions get the ball back, and they end up scoring a field goal, right? Making it 17-16. So that pick, in my opinion, was definitely on Lamar. But at the same time, the offensive line played well, I would say, in the first half. But for some reason, they just would not be able to block as well in the second half. And that's part of the halftime adjustments that we talked about earlier. So they started getting... And the Lions have a good defensive line. That's something that you notice when you watch their defense. Secondary is definitely questionable. But up front, they got some big boys, man. And they got some mean guys on that defensive line. And I wonder if that's why we just really didn't have as much success running the ball with Lamar, or just in general, to be honest. We had a lot more success throwing the ball, and it would have looked a lot prettier if Lamar had, had actually some receivers that could catch the damn ball, right? So anyway, they give the Lions the chance to get back in the game after that terrible pick from Lamar. And then a miracle happens. The Ravens get the ball back with a minute left on the clock or something like that. No timeouts. Lamar gets sacked twice. The third time, or it was like a sack on the first down. Then it was an incomplete pass on the second down. Another sack on third down. Takes you to 4th and 19. 4th and 19 at your own 16-yard line. And at this point, I think everybody's thinking it. Ravens fans are thinking it. Lions fans are every NFL fan is thinking this game is over. It's cooked. Put a fork in it. The Lions have upset the Ravens. But no, ladies and gentlemen, because what happens? Lamar Action Jackson makes an insane pass to Sammy Watkins. He finds Sammy Watkins on the left side of the field. And someone is ringing my doorbell as I am streaming. I am not going to answer them because I am busy talking about the Ravens, so they can kindly leave my house and my doorstep. So anyway, 4th and 19. He makes a 36-yard pass that gets them just past midfield and gets them just into the range of Justin Tucker. Who could have thought? Who could have thought? And listen, I want to talk about this play because what everybody seems to bring up is that, oh, what about the delay of game? The refs didn't call the delay of game. They missed the delay of game penalty. So just because the refs missed a call, that means that you have to totally discount what Lamar Jackson did through the air with that clutch throw, 36-yard pass to give the Ravens a chance to win the game. So just because the referees missed a call, you're going to totally discount everything else that happens, everything else that Lamar did. That's just the type of stuff that you read on Twitter. This is the type of stuff that you see in the media. It's absolutely ridiculous. Regardless, Lamar still gets credit here on Ravens Fan Reacts. So Lamar made that incredible throw. And then the man with the golden leg, the greatest kicker of all time, literally. There is no debate now. There should not be any debate. The most clutch kicker in NFL history, Justin Tucker, comes on the field. It's a 66-yard field goal. Everybody is just, it's intense. It's an intense moment for both Ravens fans, Lions fans. I don't know if even we believe that Justin Tucker could make a 66-yard game-winning field goal. We've seen it before at Ford Field with the 61-yarder, but the fact that this is a 66-yarder, which is an NFL record. And what does Justin Tucker do? He comes on the field and says, that's right, I'm going to freaking make this and I'm going to win this game. And that's exactly what he did. The kick sails. It looks like it has enough leg, and it hits the freaking crossbar. And at this point, I'm like, no, it didn't go in. And next thing you see it bounce off the back net, and you see the refs put their arms up. It's good! Ravens freaking win thanks to Justin Tucker, the GOAT, the G-Coat, the greatest kicker of all time. What a freaking ending to just an otherwise terrible game. Honestly. I mean, I was disappointed for most of the game. I was sitting there thinking up until the very last second, we're going to lose to the Lions. We're going to lose to the freaking Lions, right? But it's just, it was a crazy ending. And if this is how these Ravens games are going to continue to be, I'm just not sure if my heart can take it, man. But hey, that's how it is. That's always how it is. The Ravens always got to make us go crazy when we watch their football games.